here is Engineering My Way into Information Security with Nitha Suresh.
Hi all, thanks for the applause. And I'm here to talk about, just as he said, talk about how I came into InfoSec. So InfoSec is hot and it's getting hotter. Are you moving into InfoSec? So these are not my words, these are the words that I saw in the productivity brochure, but I do second it. So that's why I am here to say why I am in the field of InfoSec. Who am I? I'm a passionate InfoSec professional. I'm a pen tester. I love doing aircraft data network security researches, and I have published papers on that. Well, I like to blend in statistical analysis with cybersecurity because that's what's going to happen now. We need to have statistical analysis in cyber forensics, in big data. I'm author of 2 IEEE papers and employed with a Big Four, and my resume stands glittering with my certifications. So how it all began? It all began with me having an interest in information security, in breaking things, in securing things. Well, my interest dates back to those times when I saw movies with those themes and I liked it. Well, it's just not an anecdotal evidence that movies form a part in shaping your career, but it's also a part, it has also been a part of researches that movies do form a part in your career. And I love picking locks. Well, my dad used to lock the TV in a small box. And my favorite hobby was to pick that lock. And I would spend the whole day picking that lock. And that's how I first broke into something. Then hacking the dial-up password. So the same thing, my dad would put a password for the dial-up. And that was one of my interesting things, more than science or maths. I love to hack in the dial-up password. And I was in love with the art of questioning and researching, and so that I had the curiosity to do that, and that forms a bigger part of the information security because we have to research on the mysteries that are built in information security. So some time back, we used to say that a career is all about living under the sun and having fun and making money. But days have gone by and now our career is our passion. And this career is a passion for me, and I'm going to share with you how I chose to fuel my passion. So my first point was in choosing my master's. So after my undergraduation, I had the option of taking campus placements or probably settling in some other job in IT, information technology. But I chose to think on what I want to do, where I want to settle. I started analyzing on what all previous things I have showed you, what things I like, what are my strengths, what do I value most, and what am I most interested in. And that's how, so I narrowed down into some topics like forensics, investigation, and so on. And then I searched Google for courses based on that, and that's how I came to know that there are some security courses back in my country, India, and I went for information security and computer forensics masters. So I did a lot of background research before I went for the course. Another thing is, masters only is just a spark that gets you going. It's not a complete thing. It does not give you everything in security. And so I went beyond to do certifications. So I loved learning about hacking, but I didn't get all that I want in my master's. So I decided to do certified ethical hacking course so that I get an in-depth learning in hacking. And I really got that. I would say certification is definitely a glitter that stands out in your resume when an HR or a cybersecurity recruiter looks at your resume. For me, as a beginner, it definitely helped me learn concepts without experience. So I learned a lot of things. Like, if I like breaking into things. Basically, I like pen testing. But if I do just pen testing, how about reporting it to the client? Or how about streamlining that information to present it to somebody in the form that they like, present it to somebody in a managerial position? So I learned a lot of concepts like that from CISSP, how to present things to the management, based what are the perspectives of the management. So all that I learned from some of the certifications. Another thing is, in some of the certifications like OSCP, we get hands-on experience. So even without a job, I got hands-on experience through guided labs, and that helped me a lot in my career. Some time back, maybe a decade back, information security was a passion. It's just like you say about the film industry, when it all started with street plays and then went on to become, we call it a film industry now. We don't call it an art. So just like that, some time back when information security was a passion, there wasn't a way to measure the passion, and we didn't have to have certifications at that time. But now, information security has become a big industry. And what I have seen is, according to the percentage, 35% of the recruiters look on for certifications for hiring. So that is definitely turning to be a benchmark to validate a person's skill and knowledge. It's an ethical way of highlighting that you're passionate about developing in this field. Well, you can definitely hack into a system and do certain things where you can hack and send an interview letter to yourself. But this is an ethical way of highlighting. All recruiters don't understand that. So this is a definite way of highlighting to the management, recruiting management, that you are passionate about developing and learning in this field. From an organizational perspective, it measures your ability to learn. So when someone hires you, they look at the perspective of how the ability to learn, because information security is an ever-growing industry and we need to keep learning every day. And certifications definitely measure the ability to learn, memorize, and remember. That's what we need to keep learning. Are we a good learner? That's what most organizations look at. Another thing I did was, I was very curious and I went on to do some IEEE publications, so I researched. So there are different kinds of research. I have done literature surveys, so survey through many papers, IEEE papers, Elsevier, Springer, many other articles, and go through them and research and find some good findings from that. That was my first paper on security concerns for cloud computing in aircraft data networks. And so it's good to analyze. When you read a paper, it's good to analyze it from a security perspective and understand if there can be any more defenses added, and if there are any faults or gaps in that. And this can be contributions to the security industry as well. Another thing I did was I built my own lab. So when I was doing an internship in a confidential organization, I went there and they didn't have security. So one thing they asked me was, can you please hack our systems and show us? So I had no options. I was just an intern. I didn't really know how to hack a system. They had a big network, a confidential network, and I had to build my own lab to understand that and find a vulnerability, put their system in my lab, create a virtual machine, and find a vulnerability, and then reproduce the same thing in their lab. So I had to build my own lab and practice, and that helped me a lot. That was my first learning experience. And I did many things. I've tried many other things like data exfiltration, and that also contributed to one of my researches. So I relied a lot on online resources. So many times I did not find good guidance. So I relied on online resources for more guidance. This is a Google world, and you search Google for all answers, you get everything. So that was one of my options. Connecting to other InfoSec professionals, I used to attend many conferences. So in my period of 2 years when I was doing job search, I used to attend conferences. I did certifications, and I attended some security courses to develop my learning. And I always kept in touch with those people who have coached me, whom I have met in conferences. And whenever I was stuck with something or the other, I would just contact them, and they were always helpful for me. Now, coming up to the challenges, I feel one of my challenges was the lack of guidance I had during my post-graduation days on what I should do, how I should streamline. So I had a variety of things in front of me in security. I loved everything in security, but I didn't know on what to focus on. And I didn't get good guidance on how and what to focus on and how to streamline my interest. I have had responses. We learned it the hard way, so why not you? Definitely, in security, we all learn it the hard way. It's security. In security, we have to give a high cost, and it's difficult to get resources to learn, and probably we need to hear many criticism. So that was the output of all those pain processes. So we learned it the hard way, so why not you? And I did many certifications without the hope of landing in a right job, because I wanted to learn security, I wanted to develop in security. So when I was in the Middle East at that time, and no one was ready to take in freshers, but I really wanted to work in security, and I kept waiting for the right job. In the meantime, while waiting for the right job, I didn't just want to wait like that, so I did some certifications. That's when I did some security courses that was available, and I attended some conferences so I could connect with people, make contacts. So certifications, I did CISSP without even having a job, and CISSP definitely gave me an experience, and I did it in the hopes of landing in the right career. So I went for an interview for a pen testing post. They wanted to take in an associate consultant. And they asked me this question: where do you plug in your laptop on the client site in order to conduct vulnerability assessment? So I didn't have the right answer, to be frank. I hadn't conducted a vulnerability assessment at the client site at that time because I was a fresher and I hadn't had experience. This is always a discussed topic, joys of being a woman in pen testing. So I have had these clients who have the feeling of, can she do it? Can you do it? Like, we never had women pen testers, so are you able to do it? I mean, why did that guy not come this time? So those questions. And, well, it was difficult to adjust to that culture of sitting in the front of a terminal for hours with just a Coca-Cola. I had to overcome that factors, and I had less opportunity to build a mentor-mentee relationships. So it was that I had not found a good mentor unless I came here and I started working here. So I found it difficult to find a mentor. And I was not aware of this fact that mentoring has an important role in your career, and I also did not take an active role to initiate mentoring. Another thing is, well, I have heard this a lot. You need to hack into a company and send yourself an interview letter. So this was another thing I had to face. A lot of that you need to be a technical geek in order to get the role of a pen tester. So what I have for you is, I would suggest you that you define your passion. If you have a passion for information security, define your information security passion. Why are you passionate about information security? Who is inspiring you to be in information security, and what is it that inspires you to take that? Realizing what you want to do and revitalizing your passion. So the initiative must come from our side. So we need to research, we need to understand ourselves, and we need to research about this industry. We need to keep learning. So that's what I meant by revitalizing. Then constant learning. Just like I said, constant learning is a part of this ever-growing field. Today one ransomware, tomorrow another ransomware. And it's all different vulnerabilities and zero-day exploits. So we need to be constantly aware of what's going on in our field. If you ask me, where can I get the basics from? I have suggested people that the basics can be got from some certification study books like Security Plus, CCNA. Like if you want to know about security, you need to know about networking. So you can learn it from Networking Plus, Security Plus, CCNA, Linux to learn about Linux. So you can refer to such books for that. Well, finding a mentor is one important thing in information security. When I came to Canada, so first thing I found was I talked to some people, and I found someone who has the same interest as mine and was willing to mentor me, and she is somewhere here, and so I got a good mentor, and I would suggest you can find mentor. I got a mentor from BSides. So there are a lot of mentoring opportunities here, and you can go to a mentor. The thing is, when you go to a mentor, do your research first and make it easy for them to help you. Let that not be a parasitic relationship. It should be mutually beneficial, and so that the mentor also gets benefit from that. And you also develop. Get connected to InfoSec communities online. So join InfoSec groups on Twitter, DEFCON group, or if you have a mentor or if you have some guidance, you can ask them on how to join, whom you should follow, and they can guide you on whom you have to follow, and follow conversations of people who have similar interest as yours, so that you keep up to date with their researches as well, so you know what is happening in that particular field. So that can help you a lot. Submit your research ideas at the various conferences. I know everyone in InfoSec is a researcher, and we will all be curious all the time, and all the time there is a research coming up. So you must submit your research at some of the conferences so that it gets published, it gets noted, and you get to connect with more people on those researches. Play around with open source security tools like Nmap and Metasploit. So you can play around, just like I said, you can build your own lab, play around with sites like Vulnerability Hub, if you have seen that, and tools like Nmap and Metasploit can help you. Those are open source tools, so they can help you learn more about that. Achievers have a can-do attitude that sets them apart from mere dreamers. They are sold out to success no matter the obstacles and are willing to put forth the effort and pay the price of success. So self-experience does not come from any university. Let's take initiative to get into information security. Just like I said at the beginning, it's just getting hotter and we need more people into it. Thank you.
Are there any questions out there? I actually have a question. How you mentioned that one of the problems which I've seen where it's hard to get experience and get a job if you don't have experience already.
Yes.
Do you have any tips on breaking through that initial barrier?
Yeah, I would say one thing I would say is, like, according to my experience, you can actually do certifications, I would say some hands-on certifications, and attend various other security courses, then attend conferences like BSides, many other conferences, network. And that's one way you can get over that barrier, and you can connect with people and make people know that you have a passion towards this field. You are learning in this field. You are up to date in this field, and you have an ability to learn and work with the organization to attain their goals.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody.
May I ask you, what are some of the techniques that you use with clients to kind of ease them and say, hey, I can do it? What were some of the techniques that you use to kind of present yourself to a client and kind of reassure them that, yes, I can do it?
So I would resort to talk technical terms with them so that they understand, they are assured of that I am technical. And also I would be patient enough, give them regular updates and keep updating them, and then give good reports to them so that I keep the client patient enough so that he gets to know that I can work with him.
Thank you all.